bringing you inside the USL Championship and League One.
Segmer's got there, Marquinhos! He's been knocking on the door! He knocks it down!
Diving into all the biggest stories and top headlines.
You are ripping and roaring today.
This is USL All Access.
It's almost impossible to recreate that level of magic.
With Mike Watts and Devon Kerr on SiriusXM FC.
Welcome, everyone. It's USL All Access on this Tuesday night. Mike Watts and Devon Kerr with Emmett McConnell at the controls as ever. This week, we're going to chat a little bit about some of the news around the championship, but we're also going to talk about the team no one talks about. We've got Nabil Bensalah and Malik Badawi joining us from Pro Referees. Just stick around for a minute. Trust us. These are guys that have given so much to the game, and it's a really good primer for what you'd hear from pretty much every referee in America. If you're mad the call didn't go your way this weekend, I get it. But most of our show is going to be spent with these guys. Devin, you and I already chatted with them. I know we're looking forward to having people hear about it.
Humanizing it, right? Giving an idea of what goes on before, after, during a game, and that it's not just the whistle and then move on. I think the information that they give, the background on how to get to where they are, and then what the future of refereeing is going to look like, especially as we continue to advance the game, because it's not just about cultivating talent on the field with players, Mike. We need more referees, and we need that to continue to get better.
All right, Dev, let's hit maybe the biggest piece of news of the week. There were a couple other transfers. Owen Prestis has joined Hartford. Tommy McNamara, well over 200 games in MLS, goes to Vegas. But playoff Patino's back, baby. Santiago Patino, multi-year contract, left San Antonio to go to Vietnam and then Sudan. 2022 final MVP, a brace against Louisville. He scored 26 goals in 48 games for the club. A lot's changed. It's not Allen at the helm anymore, but I doubt Santi has.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind, though, this is the most necessary piece for this team in terms of the location on the field. They need goals, man. They need goals more consistently, and they need a presence up top to really frustrate the quality that is ball movement coming off the back line and the control that's in the midfield. You said the 26 goals. 8 of them came in the playoffs. This guy does it when it matters most. He's got an engine that runs people out of the gym and an absolute necessity for San Antonio FC moving forward, trying to make a run at another title.
All right, Devin, let's chat about one or two results that really stood out to us. Loudoun United is back, 3-2 win over Indy.
100%. They're back. And we talked about the acquisitions, right? Amari Glasgow coming over from Chicago. I loved what I saw at Akimi Ordonez, his ability to work down in the pocket space. When they brought Zach Ryan on, they were regularly getting 7 players into the top of the 18. I still have some concerns defensively moving in transition. That's been a constant conversation for them, though. Attacking-wise, Loudoun is back, and I see a lot of goals in their future.
All right, Lexington, Devin, big 1-0 win over San Antonio as they hang at the playoff line.
Let's pump the brakes in terms of the actual goal because it's an own goal. I was more impressed with chance creation and the way that they shortened the field. To me, it was one of the better performances by Terry Boss's crew of high to mid-line of pressure, causing turnovers, and the commitment of numbers coming forward. It could have been 4-0 at half. Yeah, it's just one own goal, but they created a ton within this game. Even though they got outpassed, they were very efficient with the ball at their feet and the moments given.
All right, Dev, 1-1 between North Carolina and Detroit. Your takeaway?
No, right. Just kidding. My takeaway from it was this. We know exactly what North Carolina FC are. They're consistent defensively. They create. They weren't good enough in the final third. I saw a lot better movement out of Delabella and Evan Conway together. I need more aggression out of the midfield to regain control later in moments in the game, which is exactly what Detroit City did. Bringing Williams on, paired next to Kobe Hernandez-Foster, releasing him higher. Kobe Hernandez-Foster is great for this team into what Danny DQ is trying to do. Ball control, utilization of the width, and finally, they got their goal scorer back in the books.
And then I'm wearing this 50th anniversary Rowdies kit for a reason. They continued their year-long celebration with a 1-1 draw against Phoenix. Arteaga against his former team. Equalizing after a little bit of Riz. Pierce Rizzo scoring for Phoenix Rising, 1-1.
That wasn't a fashion statement, by the way. That young man, just 18 years old, playing out of position at right back. That's a holding midfielder who has done very well for himself. He definitely got an injury. I don't know what it was. They're keeping it quiet. I don't care. with the way that he recovered off the poor touch and the cutback, becomes the youngest goal scorer in Phoenix Rising history. Phoenix, once again, we're having a conversation about self-inflicted wounds, a poor start to the game, but an incredible finish that speaks to the testament of the character in that locker room that Pa Moduka has instilled. I think Dom Casciato had his group a very even-keeled performance. My concern for them, once again, 20 yards and in, they basically did everything from the width of the field. They've got to be more aggressive going forward when they start to approach the final third, and specifically attacking space in the box.
And when we come back, the guys who most assuredly hate your team, I'm kidding. They don't hate any of your teams. Relax. The guys who have the toughest job in the sport, pro referees sending Malik Badawi and Nabil Bensalah to chat with us. They'll join us on the other side of the break here on USL All Access.
Let's get back to USL All Access on SiriusXM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
Welcome back, everyone. It's USL All Access on this Tuesday night. If you miss any part of this special show, it's available on the USL YouTube page tomorrow in full color. It's also available audio as ever on the SiriusXM app. As Devon and I spoke about in the last segment, so often we forget that there are three teams on the field, and that while you may be rooting for one team or the other on a specific day, the third team actually has to find a way to make everybody satisfied, from the players to the teams to the fans. And even if at times it feels like you're underwhelmed, we as a commentator community feel that the referee community on the whole is wildly underappreciated. We don't know nearly enough. And so in working with Pro, we've been able to get two referees on for this show this week to chat a little bit about what goes into their efforts, their backgrounds, and we hope that by the end of this, you'll understand far greater, maybe less the exact IFAB laws of the game and more who's in charge of actually implementing them within our country and how much they care about the game. Malik Badawi and Nabil Bensalah have been around the USL for quite some time. They've worked in MLS. They've worked the Open Cup. They've worked every event that you've watched at some point or another in their illustrious officiating careers, and they join us on the show now. Malik, Nabil, we really genuinely can't thank you enough for making time.
Gentlemen, thanks for having us. Glad to be here. Glad to have some time to talk.
No doubt.
It's definitely an honor to be here. Great to hear you guys' voices after so many years of hearing them in the booth. So pleasure to be here. Honor to be here with you guys.
Already good liars right out of the gate. I love where this interview is going, Mike. This is the perfect setup.
Fantastic. Guys, let's start from 30,000 feet, or maybe take it all the way down to this past week. Where were you guys in recent weeks? Where have we seen you guys on our streaming devices or on our TVs? Malik, where you been?
Yeah, I got home last night. This weekend I had quite an exciting match. I was in Minnesota against Seattle, MLS action. Pretty fun match, top of the table, and ended up being the game we all expected. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, I was in El Paso, a little bit of USL action. El Paso versus Monterrey. Tightly contested matchup, last minute tying goal to finish in a 2-2 draw. So definitely some emotion to go into that game. But it was a fun game, fun one to officiate.
Right. You certainly know, Nabil, whenever you get Wilma Cabrera, there's going to be 500 goals and 600 fouls. So good for you in that game and navigating those waters correctly. Hey, we love it, man. It's action for us as announcers as well. I urge you, number one, to not necessarily divulge personal information like your social media accounts, or do it. I like to yell at people too, so feel free. But give us let's dig into your background, Malik. We'll start with you. How did we get here? You know, where did you come from? How did you get involved in refereeing? Did you play? Kind of give us an idea of what has been the journey up until modern day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Where we're at now was never scripted, a place I never really thought I would be at. I grew up in a soccer household. My dad was a player. He actually did pretty much everything in soccer. But so I started playing before I could remember. Played indoor when I was little, played development academy as I came up. Ended my career playing at the NCAA Division II, where I played at Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. And as my playing career kind of was coming to an end, I was smart enough to read the writing on the wall, realized I wasn't too good of a player, and figured I could have a bigger future in the refereeing side. So I started refereeing when I was 10 years old. which is too young to get certified. So I started at indoor soccer, refereeing kids that I was playing against 20 minutes before. And when I tell you I had no idea what I was doing, that's very true. Some people might think that's still the case, but as I started progressing, I really wanted to referee more. I remember the reason I got certified, I was looking to get an Xbox, and my mom wasn't going to buy it for me, so I had to go get certified, make some money, and I really enjoyed it. It was a weird part of the game that I didn't think I would enjoy, but as I started learning about refereeing and what it entailed and the significance it had on the match, I really started to get into it and the nuances of refereeing. Move on a little bit further. After my freshman year of college, I went into the summer, like a lot of college players, looking to stay sharp, was doing a little training with the local PDL team, and had an opportunity to go referee at Youth State Cup. I went there, got a lot of positive feedback, and that's kind of when the wheel started turning that, hey, maybe there's a bit of a future in this. 2 summers later, I think I had refereed my first USL game, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, so thanks, Malik, for setting me up for that. I did not play at a collegiate level like you did. My story ends more closely to the high school level. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you slot me in the 8 and the 4-3-3 with a false 9, I could do some damage. Hit the diag on the fullback. Don't get me wrong. I can do some damage. But of course, it was always a dream to play at a high level. Like Malik, I grew up with football all around my life. Playing from a very young age, being very competitive. I started refereeing in 2011 when I was around 12, turning 13 years old. My dad was a national referee at the time, and he urged me to start refereeing because I wanted to make some extra money. He said, why not just start refereeing instead of working in retail or something like that? So, I mean, 12 years old, doing a bunch of, youth level games on a weekend, making $200. I felt like I was rich, obviously. Making cash like that at 12 years old. I felt like I was on top of the world. Then about 16 or 17 years old, I started getting invited to some regional events, some state cup events, regional events, doing some higher level amateur games, maybe a little bit of semi-pro games. And then I really thought that maybe this could be a pathway. Maybe this could be something that I could follow further into the future. Maybe a pathway that I couldn't achieve playing, but I could follow in the refereeing side of things. So kept grinding, kept my head down, kept working at the youth level, at the amateur level, and then finally blessed with the opportunity to do my first pro game in 2017, which was, if I remember correctly, Indy 11 versus FC Edmonton in the NASL as a fourth official. I was like 19 years old, didn't know what I was really doing, but man, we were out there. But throwback, obviously. At the same time, obviously building my profile, building my skill sets at the semi-pro level, at the higher level youth levels, doing DA games back then, MLS Next at some point, and then kept grinding until 2020 when I did my first head referee at Louisville. That was back in COVID when obviously it was still like half capacity in the stadiums, but intensity was still there. I mean, it's Louisville after all. But yeah, I mean, it's a long time coming. We're still working, we're still grinding to reach Malik's level, of course. But yeah, that's my story.
Nabil, I'm going to take your personal venture immediately into tactics as a shot across the bow that you're coming for my job. So I'd like the record show that, please. The court reporter got it on down there. Malik, I have a question though, out of curiosity. When you reference your playing experience, right? You finished at D2. You mentioned Fort Lewis College. I looked up the stats. Not bad. 39 appearances in 3 seasons. Love that. 2 goals, both of which were game winners. I did notice conveniently there's nothing on there about your disciplinary record. Did you go back into the past and pay someone off to get rid of them? What were you like as a player?
We had to scrub it a bit. No, it was looking back. I think it's important to say I was a number 6, and very much a non-technical number 6. Right, my job was to disrupt play, put in some challenges, win some headers, and my disciplinary record probably showed the same. Picked up quite a few yellow cards in my day, as well as quite a few for dissent. I will say,
love it.
Being a referee probably didn't help me when it came to talking to referees.
We're here on USL All Access, so we've got Malik Badawi and Nabil Bensalah, referees from pro. chatting a little bit about their background, and we'll get to some of the meat and potatoes about what it's like in their position day to day here in a bit. Nabil, I didn't play in college. I didn't play in high school. I didn't play in grade school. I think I played for Oranges at one point. You mentioned your dad was a referee and that was your pathway in. Fair to say he's the biggest influence on you as a referee, or was there someone that you worked alongside as you went up the ladder? And then, Malik, same question to you. After that, who sort of you talk to a player, they go, oh, I idolize this guy. Well, as you guys were coming up as officials, who are you watching and who did you look at as that's how I want to be when I get the chance?
Yeah, absolutely. My father by far was my biggest influence to begin with, and still to this day. I mean, he watches all my games and assesses me almost after every single game and makes sure that I'm not messing up on a weekly basis or anything like that. I mean, he's one of my toughest critics, of course. You know, he's definitely.
Who's harder on you, your dad or Sal Rosamilia?
Oh, that's a great question. It's going to be my dad. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. That's a great question, but it's going to be my dad. Sounds tough, but it's going to be my dad for sure. Yeah. He doesn't cut any breaks, and he's constantly watching my games and telling me where I need to do better. Never tells me like where I'm, doing well. It's always, where I'm doing wrong. So, but that's how I operate. I'd rather know what I'm doing wrong versus anything else. And of course, as you're coming up, you have your mentors, you have people that you meet throughout your career that have been at that level that you're trying to reach. Mentors that are coming up that, even currently my coach is currently in pro, that I speak to on a weekly basis and such, that I've been through the ranks and through the dirt, and they've seen everything that I'm already going to see as well. All those people that I look up to as well, especially the people that I look up to closely, that I meet on a consistent basis. It's more so the people that have been through the ranks that I've been through, that I'm trying to go through myself in the U.S. soccer ranks.
Yeah, my story kind of started very similarly. My dad was a referee. He state referee, national candidate. Some of my early memories as a child, I remember where I kind of fell in love with the game. Sunday morning, we'd head out to the amateur leagues in town, and I would sit and watch my dad referee and be in the sun, enjoying it. Everybody's having a good time. The community you feel at those leagues is fantastic, right? I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I fell in love with the game. And watching him, on the field, he was a player. The way he talked to players, the way that they could relate to him versus other referees that I saw that didn't really have that feeling of the game. The respect that he had on the field with those players as well. Really kind of gave me the itch to start refereeing. And a few years later, when I started, he was my biggest mentor all the way through till today. When I was talking about the indoor soccer at 10 years old, where I had no idea what I was doing, I remember my very first game. It might be one of my favorite memories of refereeing. He's standing behind me. Things are happening. He tells me there's a foul. I have no idea. I blow the whistle. I stand there and I turn to him and I go, "Which way do I point?" And he's that way. Okay, cool. And he's given me a lot of guidance as I was coming up. When I first started youth games, he's there watching, taking notes. We talk about it afterwards. He was my coach as a player as well, so it didn't take much to transition into kind of coaching me as a referee. One of the pieces of advice that I got early on was to not try to referee like somebody else, right? I think that was one of the questions. Who did I look at? And so it was really good advice, because I think it's easy to take some time as a young referee and go, wow, I want to be this referee. I want to do everything like them. I want to run like them. I want to talk like them. And it doesn't work, right? We are individual referees. We need to put our personalities on the field. So one of the pieces I got was look at referees, study them, see what they're doing, and take the pieces that fit for you, right? Is it the way that they move, their positioning, their management of free kicks, their management of players, their management of misconduct? Like, what works for you and what doesn't? So similar to Bill, where I watched a lot of referees coming up, domestic and international, and tried to kind of pull certain things that fit for me.
Malik, I'm going to stay on your side of the fence here for a second. You guys have both mentioned your pathway and given brief examples of kind of what that looks like on the personal side of things. I'd like you to pull back, if you don't mind, and give people an idea of the actual process. Hard to believe. You guys just don't show up sprouting out of the ground like a flower onto game day and become a referee overnight. So Can you make us take us back? Although individual paths can vary lightly, there is a very similar structure put in place that is also vastly different than what players are used to. Take us from square one, probably at the grassroots level, and kind of give us an idea of each stepping stone in order to reach pro refereeing levels.
Yeah, fantastic. I think let's just go from the beginning, right? First thing you got to do as a referee is have some interest. Going in to do something that not a lot of people want to do. But you sign up for a course. A lot of them are online now. You can register and take the online course, take the test, get certified. Back when I started, everything was in person. So you go and you do a weekend in a classroom with an instructor who's teaching you the laws of the game, teaching you mechanics of refereeing, all of those things that come into it. Take your test, you pass it, and then you go out for your first games, right? Usually you start at a young age, under 8s, under 9s, under 10s, as an assistant referee, and hopefully you can get paired with a more experienced referee that can show you the ropes a little bit. As things progress, you start working with your assigners, and they start giving you more and more games where they can come watch and give you some feedback. How do we improve? When it's time to take the next step from grassroots to regional referees, you go through a process where you have an assessor come out, watch a game, certain level of game, U17, U19, something like that. They'll watch the whole match. After the match, with the assessor and the rest of the crew, they'll sit down, talk to you about the game, talk about certain instances, timestamps, what has happened, not only to give you feedback, how to improve here, but to start making you think about how can I start doing this on my own, right? I don't need somebody to come and talk to me about the 10th minute. I remember it. Now, after the game, I take some notes and I can do that. So if you pass the assessment, certain score changes all the time. But whatever the score is, you can upgrade your license to regional referee. From there, you can start getting the opportunity to referee higher matches, adult amateur, youth regional tournaments, at the time, Development Academy, now, MLS Next, ECNL, all of those leagues. And the pathway from there is kind of incremental, similar steps, assessments, mentoring, feedback, and the better you do, the more you progress to the pro ranks. Once you get into that area, it is a little bit different, I would say, for everybody. I'm sure my story is a little bit different than Nabil's. For me personally, I was at a Development Academy event, was seen by somebody in U.S. Soccer, and from there was invited to Generation Adidas tournament a few months later, which is a great tournament that a lot of referees have come through that have gone into the professional ranks. Seeing teams from around the world, opportunities you don't have, right? You have some of the best future players ever. And then I ended up doing really well at that tournament. And I think a few months later, I refereed in USL Pro. So that was my path. I think the beginning is kind of similar for a lot of us, but as you progress towards the top of the ladder, I know everything gets a little bit individualized.
Let's stay at the top of the ladder for a second, Malik, and then Nabil, I'll come in on the back end for the second question. So the first question for you, Malik, is once the lead up to a season and in season, what does it look like in terms of training? And I don't mean the physical exhaustion. I mean, you guys are obviously just like announcers are, just like players are. You're trying to get better. You're trying to hone your skills. How do you prepare for the upcoming season? And then once you get into the grind of games every single week, what does it look like in terms of communication with the hierarchy and kind of adjusting to new things that are being passed on as the season goes forth?
So preseason is I actually try to make my preseason look a little bit like how it did as a player, right? So you come in, you have a few weeks of pretty intense physical training leading up to our fitness test, our preseason camp that we have with Pro. It's important to not only be prepared physically, but every year the laws change a little bit. There's some new things that either FIFA, IFAB is going to implement, or even the leagues that we're working themselves. Nabil can talk about it in a bit here, but especially in Pro 2, where you're in 4 or 5 leagues at a time, and there's little nuances, right? We want to make sure that as referees, we can get all of the technical aspects of the game correct. So I think that's the big emphasis on preseason leading into the season. Once we're in the season, our weeks are pretty structured. We have some physical training working with our sports science team at Pro. And then depending on the week in itself, say on a Saturday, I have a referee position. I'm looking to do tactical analysis the same way that I think teams do, but for both teams, right? What are the style of play? What are the key players? How does tactics change for the teams at different stages of the match? They start the match, say a team concedes a goal. What is it going to look like for them? How are they going to change the style of play? For me, the more prepared I can be and expect or know what to expect from a team, the better I can referee the match because I'm not surprised. I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen. A team might be looking to possess early and then go direct. So that changes the way that I'm handling my positioning. Instead of coming a little bit deeper when they're trying to play out of the back, I might have to go a little further, right? Because now there's a 70-yard ball that I've got to anticipate where I'm not catching up with any of these professional players, right? So I need to be a little bit higher up the field so that I can be in a good position as the ball enters the penalty area on the other side. So a lot of tactical analysis, I think, is great. We have opportunities to talk with our coaches, our bosses, leading into these games, where different opinions on tactics is always fantastic, right? We can talk about those things and prepare. So yeah, that's kind of what my week looks like. And preseason.
Yeah, I thought we were all friends here between the four of us. I would like to mention once again, twice in the opening 20 minutes, you both have attacked the idea of tactics. I think that's a little aggressive personally. I haven't ventured into the refereeing world, but hey, the time's still young. The night's still young. Nabil, let's bring you in here. Curious, once you get in season, the ambition certainly of the referee is going to be the first part of the answer as to, do they want to be a head official? At what level, right? Then there's the force, there's ARs, there's the VAR room. How does it look from a scheduling standpoint of balancing the individual's ambition of what they want to accomplish alongside with the congestion? People that don't know, you guys aren't running as the center referee every single time you go out, and certainly not when it's Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, and the games are coming rapid fire.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a balance that you have to keep on a consistent basis. I will say though, as referees, it's similar to players. We are by position, right? You're either a head referee and a fourth official, or you're an assistant referee. So you're either going to get assignments as an assistant referee when you're on the field, or it's going to be a head referee position or fourth official position if you're one of those positions. But in that sense, I mean, it's always a tough balance to keep, on a consistent basis. It's always trying to make sure that you're ready for the position that you're going into on a weekly basis. I personally am not a VAR yet. I haven't gone through the correct or the proper protocols and training that I need to become a VAR. So for me, it's limited to how do I get myself ready on a weekly basis as a head referee and as a fourth official if I have that fourth official in the MLS.
All right, we've got Malik Badawi and Nabil Bensalah with us here on USL All Access. We're going to take a break here. We've been planning this for months, so the least we can do is wait another couple minutes and come back on the other side. We'll dig a little deeper into what you actually see on a game day from pro referees after this here on SiriusXM FC.
Giving insight to all the biggest moments in Championship and League One. This is USL All Access on SiriusXM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
Back here on USL All Access on this Tuesday evening. Miss any part of the show available on the SiriusXM app or the USL YouTube page. From pro referees, we have Malik Badawi and Nabil Bensalah with us here this week. Mike Watts, Devon Kerr, Emmett puts it together. Guys, I want to sort of go, zoom way out. Here you guys are. You are in front of 25,000 people every week. You're, running around and trying to dictate the conclusion of professional games that people are paying a lot of money for. And then you have a lot of these, referees. I'm a lawyer. I work at Red Lobster. in the front office, not waiting tables and bringing biscuits. Like, what do you guys do? Nabil, I'll start with you. Like, what's the day job, or is this the sole focus at the moment?
Yeah, so I do have a full-time job. I'm a civil engineer by trade in the transportation industry. So I'm a roadway engineer designing highways, helping out with bridges, pedestrian transportation, things of that nature.
Overachiever.
What?
Overachiever. There's an exit sign right over there, dude. Oh, I'm an engineer. No big deal.
Well, and Nabil, everyone, there are two things people hate in this world: referees and orange barrels and traffic. And
I know. I'm just
Bob's barricades my butt. It's Nabil's fault. We're getting on him.
It is. All the maintenance of traffic, that's on me. Put it on me.
My man, that's crazy.
No, yeah. But I went to Purdue for structural engineering, and so I decided to put Devin, if you ask me how does structural engineering relate to refereeing, my answer is going to be like Mr. Rensing. I don't know.
He's on the sociology.
Yeah, exactly. It's sociology.
Absolutely. Devin's my guy. Glad you're showing him support and listen. Well done, sir.
Absolutely. But
Malik, what's the day job, dude?
These days, this is what I do full time. I got promoted a few years ago into MLS and had the opportunity that this is all I get to do.
People don't get to see, but Nabil's applauding, and sooner than later, man. When all of transportation is fixed, you can just do this. Guys, let's talk about influences in terms of the larger officiating universe. It got mentioned in the last segment. Some of these referees are capable of touching the highest level of high school games, the highest level of college games, any level of the professional pyramid. IFAB rules are marginally different. The league rules are marginally different in everything. How do you try and efficiently handle these overarching rules that everyone knows, but also the really minute details? And also, Malik, to your point earlier, you're trying to study and be prepared and know the teams involved. And you might only be doing MLS now, but it wasn't that long ago that you'd be doing 2-3 leagues at the same time, and trying to keep track of 70 teams is no easy feat.
It's certainly not. I think it just comes down to preparation. We need to look at the game in front of us. What do I have this week? How can I make sure that I'm best prepared for this game in particular? What are the league-specific rules? Luckily, the laws of the game don't change from U6 to Major League Soccer and beyond. So now I'm talking, looking at those specific ones, right? As the league progresses, the season goes on, you kind of have a better feeling where you don't need to go back and double check every week. But preparation, if you're not properly prepared for a match, you can expect it to go the way you'd think.
Nabil, I'm going to start with you here, although I'd like you both to answer. And basically the difference in preparation of a Pro 2 level match compared to if you're a pro referee. Now, there is a distinction, obviously, with the number. I don't add well on the fly. So if you could maybe break it down. VAR is an interesting one, right? But the supporting cast behind the scenes, the lead up to the game. Nabil, what's your prep look like going into a match? And then, Malik, maybe you could come in and say the differentiating aspects of it on the backside between the two journeys that you go through.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Malik said, it's on a weekly basis, right? It's just getting ready for the next game. It's looking forward to the next game. And for me, the preparation starts with moving on from the last game. The most important game is the next one that's assigned. It's the next weekend's game. Sometimes a game from the past might not go well, and you kind of have to have that short-term memory to kind of move on from that to put your best effort going forward. So the first step for me is always move on from the last game, whether it was really good, if I'm on my high horse, or if it was really bad or, not the best performance. I got to move on, learn from the mistakes that I made in the past, but also, move on to the next game. Next up is recovery and training, right? Like Malik alluded to earlier, we have our individualized sports science programs. So just keeping on top of our trainings, on top of our recoveries, making sure that we're fresh going into the next game, whether it's, our stretching or even just come down to nutrition, making sure that we're eating well, we're hydrating well throughout the week and preparing. And then throughout the week, of course, whenever I have the chance, I do my own homework. So I look up both stats on both teams. Mark again said the same thing earlier. Just looking for key players, tactical analysis. At the Pro 2 level, Pro does send us tactical analysis reports for every single match. So it gives us a history into what each team looks like going into each game. Setup, formations, key players to look out for. So that kind of gives us kind of a cheat sheet almost in a sense to helps us prepare for the next game. And I kind of put all of that information and compile it into a little mini report that I send to my coach on a weekly basis before the game, just to get myself ready in a mental space for that match. Touched on the physical preparation as well. But I always say whenever I talk to other referees that the goal is to referee the game in front of me, right? You can do so much homework, you can do so much analysis, you can, make predictions and have expectations for what players are going to give you problems, what players are, how teams are going to set up, what tactical analysis looks like. But no two games are the same. So for me, I always like to go into every single game with what's the game in front of me, refereeing the game that's in front of me. If I start, expecting too much, I start making predictions on stuff that's not there, maybe creating narratives that aren't there to begin with. So I always want to go in with a clean slate in terms of mental preparation of, refereeing the game that's in front of me and the players that are in front of me.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic insight there. Not too much different when you get into MLS. You want to keep doing the same things you've done to get to that point, right? So your preparation is pretty locked in. The way you analyze matches is pretty locked in. The only difference, as you had talked about a little bit, you're going into MLS where you now have VAR, right? So you have not only two more team members, but you have another aspect of the game that we need to prepare for. So for me, the only real difference there is as I'm talking with my crew, I'm talking to the VMOs, video match officials, who are also part of our crew, telling them how they can help us, how we can help them in the booth, to make sure that the match in itself goes well.
We're with Malik Badawi and Nabil Bensalah from Pro Referees, chatting a little bit about their experience and what maybe fans don't understand about what they do on a week-to-week basis here on USL All Access. Obviously, the El Paso Monterey Bay game doesn't have as easy an airport to get in and out of than you may get with a Sporting in Seattle game that's maybe a little more of a bustling metropolis. But describe travel and what this is like for you guys. So you've got a game on Saturday. When do you get to town? When do you head to the stadium? And what's that process leading up to game time? Nabil, I'll start with you in that glorious trip to El Paso.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from a small market myself, I'm constantly connecting through everywhere. So going from a small market to a small market, I'm always having to connect somewhere on my travels. But for a Saturday game, I usually fly out the day before, obviously, Friday night, try to leave work at a certain time to catch my next flights, connecting to whatever city it is, get to the city Friday night, and then just start my preparation from there in terms of just getting my rest in. And then the game is on Saturday evening. And then after Sunday morning is when I'm usually catching the flight to go back home.
Yeah, traveling to MLS is sometimes a little bit easier. Where I was coming from, a small town in Colorado, even USL, the smallest markets, it was a bigger airport than we had. I think at the time I was flying out, we had 3 gates. There were 6 flights a day. So I was traveling early on Friday, praying that there's no misconnection, trying to get to wherever I was going by late Friday night, doing the match on Saturday. And then it kind of depends for me, flying into a small town, what's the rest of the week look like. So if there was no midweek games, I'd usually fly home Sunday. If there were midweek games, it was probably easier for me to head to the next market where I can train, prepare, not have to worry about travel issues, which always happens when you least want them. And then eventually, depending, again, on the rest of the week, maybe come home, maybe spend another week and a half on the road before I'm back home.
And I usually see you guys real quick out on the field, let's call it 2 hours, hour and a half before doing your walk around. You, correct me if I'm wrong, meet with the coaches a little over an hour before the game. That's standard practice, right?
Correct. Correct. So we typically arrive to the stadium 2 hours before, do our field checks, equipment checks, and then we'll meet with the teams to go over starting lineups, expectations for the match, any league protocols that we need to discuss. Summertime, there's a lot of markets where there might be some weather issues. So we'll talk about the protocols for those
Gotcha.
about an hour before, and then we'll head to warm-ups shortly after that.
Okay. Watts listening to the travel days for them. It sounds eerily similar to some of the stuff that we go through. And it is pretty sad, to be honest, out there. It is pretty sad that there's no donor that has been kind enough to step up and say, hey, guys, listen, we got a chartered flight for you. Everybody jump on. There's assets waiting on board. There's bubbly. Job well done. And instead, they show us the back door and say, see you never. Curious on the VAR side, Malik, there's been a ton of growth, certainly. And as that has taken a bigger role within the game, globally for sure, but certainly here in the United States over the past couple of years, the responsibilities, the roles have changed. Understanding that every situation is unique and you can't compare one to the next because of all the variables at play, there is a protocol in place to how to handle certain situations. So again, without getting into the nitty-gritty of each individual moment, can you maybe give us an idea of what steps are necessary when an opportunity like that is at play, and walk us through what the communication is like, checks, Mike said check complete earlier, and give fans a peek behind the curtain as to what you guys go through in those situations?
Yeah, I think the implementation of VAR has been a pretty positive thing for the game overall, my personal opinion. It's made to come in and fix some of these massive errors that we see, kind of change games. Things that are technically incorrect or massive refereeing errors that happen because referees are human. And so that aspect to it actually gives us a little bit of comfort, I would say, that I can go out there, do my best, do everything I can, knowing that there's still some decisions that are probably out of reach, and making sure that we can get them on the game so we don't negatively impact it. The role of a VAR, I think, is super important, but important to know the limitations as well, right? It was never meant to come in to re-referee the game. Soccer is a very subjective game. There's a lot of opinions. We could look at the same play and you could have one opinion and I could have the other, and neither of us could be wrong, right? I think that's kind of the beauty in it. So knowing those limitations, VAR has a really important role to make sure that I don't have any massive blunders. Preparing for that, I think, is really important with the VAR. So as the game progresses, we have an incident that happens where either on the field or in the booth, we see something, a potential, let's go with a challenge in the penalty area. I have no foul, and play goes on. The VAR's right away going to go in, look at the play with as many angles as possible, see if the defenders won the ball, see if there's any contact with the attacker, whatever it is, to determine if there was a foul here or not. If I have any additional information, how can I help the VAR? I try to describe the play with as much detail as I have, to give them my perspective of it as well. And at the end of the day, the VAR is going to finish their check, finish looking at the factual information on the screen, and tell me that they either have a check complete, meaning there was no clear and obvious error, or that they're going to recommend a review and send me to the monitor to go look at the play again.
Nabil, there are two things that I've gotten out of speaking with you two today that are very clear to me. Like, a lot of incredible information, but two things that are concrete. Number one, players, announcers, and referees are under microscopes more than they've ever been before. And the second part of that is accountability that comes along with that, right? We've seen what the journey is like for you guys to get to an opportunity to call a game, what it's like ahead of time, getting into a match, preparing for it, breaking teams down. You know, Malik just walked us through a VAR situation. Nabil, the game's over. The lights don't just turn off. You don't just get to go home and it's all roses and perfume. What is it like dealing with an assessor after a match, both good and bad? And when you maybe haven't had the best night or got into a situation where a call was wrong, what's the aftermath look like for you guys so that you can continue the growth and continue to get better?
Yeah, absolutely, Devin. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't get to see the side of, is the self-assessment aspect of it. I'm my own worst critic. I'm the first person that will tell you that I messed something up. Even if it's on the field, if I know it's something is a mistake and I made a mistake and it's past the play and a player is already talking to me about it, I'll be the first person to take accountability for it and say, man, hey, I messed that one up. I'll get the next one. But after the game, Obviously, like I said, self-assessment. You know, I'm the first person to look at my games again. I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of hard for me to sleep after a game because I'm immediately trying to go back to ESPN Plus and watch the game again and watch my decisions again and rewatch the entire game. Just almost re-referee the game to see where I messed up, where I didn't do well, where I need to improve. But yeah, every single game is assessed. Every single game has an assessor where we're being scored, where we have a debrief that later that week where they tell us where our areas of improvements are, where we did well. And it gets scored at the end of the day, and it kind of goes into a portfolio of performances that racks up for the entire year. But I think the biggest thing is moving on from a mistake is trying to have short-term memory. Obviously, you want to learn from your mistakes. You want to analyze what you could have done better, how it could have moved leading up to a decision, just every single detail that you could look into to see what I could have done better to get the decision right next time. But at the end of the day, there's a next game. There's an opportunity for you to prove your worth, almost to prove that you can't make that mistake again in the next week. So it's having that short-term memory of, okay, I made this mistake. I learned from it. I know what I need to do better. I'm going to improve on it into the next game and do better and won't make that same mistake again.
All right, guys, we do really appreciate it. We do tend to finish a lot of these interviews with a bit of rapid fire and just try and get to better know the people involved. So these are more word answer than sentence answers as we go. Best locker room or accommodations you get at a venue is where? Or are they all the same?
You give the MLS answer. I'll give the USL answer.
That works for me.
There you go.
That works for me. MLS answer, I would say Portland is a pretty fun locker room experience.
I'm going to say Louisville.
Best city for food in your league circuit?
For me, Seattle.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah. I'm going to say El Paso because I love Mexican food, and it's the recent one, so I went.
Love it. The best team or coach to deal with. Maybe it's their humor. This isn't about, showing favoritism toward anybody. It's just best to deal with.
It's a tough one. Let's give that some thought.
Okay.
No, I think there's a lot there's a lot of teams. You really asked me a tough question here. Go off some recent ones. Working with Minnesota was pretty fun. Really respectful guys. Really respectful coaching staff.
That's just because Eric Ramsey could bench press you if he wanted to.
Easily.
Just off the top of the dome, zero bias. I just love the intensity always, without a miss, without any, like every single time I go there, or even if they're away, it's got to be Ben Pierman. I mean, the intensity on a week-by-week basis, just the quick whips. I mean, like the responses, the creativity of like how he tries to. It's all around. Just
that's
fun,
so good. Time. He talks so much ish. I love it. All right. We're not going to ask for the worst place to go. We're just going to say what is the least habitable climate that you guys have to officiate in. What do you look forward to least on the schedule?
Honestly, anywhere in the South in the summer. Keep me out of the humidity and the heat.
Sounds like you're going to Austin for the playoffs, by the way. Nabil, same for you. I mean, are we back in El Paso? You want the heat, right?
I mean, honestly, it wasn't even that bad. Like, I mean, it was 85 degrees with dry heat. It was perfect weather I'm be honest with you, it was perfect weather. I will say the toughest places is anywhere with a baseball diamond, and that also happens to be where they're also hot and humid for the most part. So those are like correlated.
And New Mexico United for you. Got that.
Okay,
it used to be Memphis. It used to be Memphis.
There it is, 100%. Guys, favorite game in the championship, because this is primarily a USL show. Favorite game in the championship you've ever been a part of?
Oh, there were quite a few. Thinking back, there was a very memorable one between Phoenix and Sacramento in Phoenix. Oh, I can't even remember the year, maybe 18, 19. Stuck out with me. Just a really high-quality football match, really intense. I mean, one of those ones where it was tooth and nail to the end. Yeah.
I'm going to have to say Charleston-Pittsburgh last year happened to be my first playoff game as a head referee. but the intensity was just unmatched. I mean, it was just a fun time to be a part of. You know, we live for those moments of high pressure, high intensity, loud atmosphere, and that just checked all those boxes.
Love it. Nabil, this may be the answer then to the next question. Loudest environment you've ever worked in?
Gotta be New Mexico, to be honest with you. That's the one that stands out the most. I mean, those 10,000 fans, they pack it in and they are loud.
I think mine would have to be a bit of a throwback, but Cincinnati. It was one of the bigger crowds early in my career. Remember thinking how intimidating it was at first. I can still remember that feeling walking onto the field. I think 35,000 people or so.
Amazing. Best new rule, and why is it only the captain?
You know, it is a fantastic rule. It helps us manage quite a bit. I am a huge fan of the rule coming in this coming year with the 8 seconds for the goalkeeper. I think it's one that's
you stole his line.
I think it's one that's really going to help us. One, there's not going to be as much time wasting. Two, it's going to lead to some attacking soccer, which we all love to see.
Nabil, that was it. Yeah,
I'm going to copy that. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Do you enjoy or hate having to announce a VAR review answer to the stadium? And I guess for Nabil, this will be in the future for you.
No, I at first not a fan of it. Right, I think it's just something that was not in the wheelhouse for me, but I really love the announcements in themselves. I think it gives a lot of clarity to fans, to everybody watching, which is what VAR was for, right? I think even after VAR at the beginning, you have some decisions that were being changed, and you go, what's going on here? So a little bit more clarity, I think, is just fantastic.
What I heard there, Watts, is that he wants to walk out in the middle of the field and announce just as we do and say, "You're all out of your mind. You've lost it, and it's time to go home." That's what we want to say sometimes, but, you know, I know it's hard to believe they don't allow us to, Malik. So, you know, we got your guys' backs. Don't worry. We'll slide some positive thoughts in for you.
Nabil, you'll do it soon enough. Are you going to drop that hard, long ellipses level wait, but ...
The however.
However,
I don't think I'm qualified or good enough to do that, to be honest with you.
So good. All right, guys. What's your burner account on social? I'm just kidding.
We don't need that. We just want your home address.
Gentlemen, truly appreciate it. If you want to be a referee, and I say this all the time on air, buy a whistle, join a class, start from the bottom, and work your way up, and you'll understand how difficult the job is. I appreciate you guys coming to explain some of that to us and to the fans. And people forget there is no game if we don't have a referee in the middle or on the sidelines, or it turns out now even upstairs. So, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Guys, thanks for having us. It's wonderful to talk to you.
That is Malik Badawi and Nabil Bensalah. When we come back, Jagger Cup hits the quarterfinals. We tell you what you need to look out for next year on USL All Access.
You're listening to USL All Access on SiriusXM FC. Here are your hosts, Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
We're back on USL All Access. If you missed any part of the great interview with the two pro referees we had on over the last 40 or so minutes, it's available tomorrow on the USL YouTube page. It's available always on the new SiriusXM app. All right, Mike Watts, Devon Kerr. Quarterfinals have arrived for Jagger Cup. This has been going on for months, and finally we're down to 8 teams. All 4 games are on Wednesday night. All of them are going to run into one another pending any weather delays. Greenville unable to host. So Indy will host Greenville despite the draw saying otherwise. Wednesday, August 20th, 7 p.m. Rhode Island and Birmingham, concurrent start in Rhode Island. Loudoun and Sacramento, it is in Loudoun, 7 Eastern time. Then the lone game outside the East time zone, San Antonio and Hartford Athletic, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Devin, all the games stream on ESPN Plus. We don't have time to hit every game, so let's chat about the game we like most. For me, San Antonio and Hartford. For one, it's a playoff game. Patino just got back, baby. I'm just saying, do some math. I like this idea. Second, I've been saying Hartford's on the upswing. This is a group that feels really hard done on the weekend. I get it. I think they could cause some problems here if they decide to get up and go.
Apologies to Indian Greenville that I'm not going to address their game at all. I'm with you on your game because you're going to have goals in your game. Tactically, the best game is Sack and Loudon. The way that Ryan Martin and Neil Collins are going to manipulate their characters. To me, the most impactful game is going to be the Rhode Island-Birmingham game. I think Rhode Island's defensive crew still continues to show, regardless of who's in goal or who's on the back line, that they are stout and they are very difficult to break down. But they need momentum on the attacking side of the ball. Birmingham Legion, similar type of conversation. Mark Briggs has gotten those guys to be very aggressive moving forward. They're cleaner on the ball. They're better in decision-making. They're more vertical, and they've gotten goals. But they can't keep the ball out of the back of the net. And just 2 wins between these teams in league play over 10 matches. They need momentum going forward on this playoff run, and that's why I like this match.
Devin, did you learn even one single thing this week?
I went an entire conversation that spanned nearly 45 minutes with 2 referees. I didn't get yelled at or disagree with them once.
Wow. I learned that Devin and tactics are basically as referees are to tactics, a match made in heaven. All right, for Devin, Emmett, Mike, we'll talk to you again next Tuesday night. Have a great week, everyone. So long.
This is USL All Access. If you missed any portion of the program, listen back anytime on the SXM app.